Hey everybody, welcome to True Blue Quilts, my Wednesday live show. And a lot of times it's heavy on the sewing and a little bit lighter on the chat. And we're just going to flip things around today because I have my very dear friend Tabatha with me today. Welcome.
Thank you, Andy. I'm so excited to collaborate with you.
Yeah, this has been fun. Tabatha and I met at a Quilterpreneur retreat. Was that just
That
last
was
year?
the end of last September. Yeah.
Yeah, so just about a year ago now. Gosh, we've done so much since then that
Yeah, it's
it's
been a busy
pretty
year.
crazy to think. But we even before that, I guess I had you on my podcast, Quilting on
Mm-hmm.
the Side, and so that's when I got to know you first because the podcast came first, and then
And
we
that's
met
how
in
we found
person.
out we were both going to be in Utah.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. Um, Donna is saying she loves your hat. So,
Thank
um,
you.
yes, she's looking cool there. Um, and yeah, so you've got a retreat center
I
in
do.
Florida, Alabama line.
It's Florala, Alabama. It's on the Alabama-Florida state line, obviously by the name of the city, right?
Yeah,
Florala.
yeah. Awesome. And so that's kind of the primary focus of your quilt business. What else are you doing in the quilt world?
I have a small Etsy shop where I sell quilting related items like stickers and t-shirts or whatever. And then I have my online community called Quilt Queens, which is a great online community. We meet for weekly sit and sews. We do challenges every month. I really push them to get on those UFOs so that they're not, and I'm guilty. That's why it's a big thing for me, because I'm guilty as anybody else about throwing the UFO in the corner and grabbing that next really cute project. In fact, last year I was some people drink drunk call, right? I apparently sleep shop. So I wake up at 12:30 in the morning. I happen to look at my phone. Oh, Krista Moser has a new pattern for Crimson Christmas. I order it and go back to sleep. So yes, I'm guilty of the shiny new patterns. Um, and then I have Taylor and I have launched the Quilted Summit. It's a virtual summit. We started in February, and you were one of our presenters. Our next one is coming up in 2 weeks, and you are also one of our presenters. We're so excited that you came back. So yeah, that's kind of what I
Thank
got going
you.
on these days.
Yeah, that Quilted Summit has really taken off. I am so excited to be back. I've got a new lecture that I'll be sharing with people on modern samplers. And yeah, it's just, I think people really enjoy the community that grows from those online summits, as well
Yes.
as getting to know new quilting instructors that they may not have been exposed to
Mhm.
before. So tell us a little bit about the lineup for the Quilted Summit.
Well, of course, we have Andy from True Blue Quilts. We have several of the people I met while Andy and I were in the Quiltpreneur back in Utah last year. Jessica Steele from Jessica Steele Designs, Sydney Norgan from Stuff Sydney Sews, Amber Aber from the Cheeky Quilters, Susan Smith from Stitched by Susan. We've got Julius Handmade is back, Erin Grogan from Love So Modern, MJ Kinman is there. I'm always excited because her way with color is so amazing. So who else? We got some new people. We have the Texas Quilt Museum is going to give us a great presentation on preserving your heirloom and quilts. So excited about that. And one that we just also engaged this week is the Quilts of Valor Foundation is going to do a presentation with us, and it's going
Oh,
to
wow.
be a live lunchtime chat. So we're
Yeah, those are
on.
some really, really good speakers. I'm excited
Yeah, we've got
to.
about 26, I believe, 27, somewhere in that lineup of speakers. And if you go to quiltedsummit.com and you register your email, you'll be on our email list and you'll be able to see all of the, get the schedule and all of the presenters' names and what their topics are.
Yeah, I just put a link
Oh,
in
awesome.
in the chat so people can use that if they haven't signed up yet. It's completely free, but of course there are upgrades. So tell us about that. Is it an all access pass?
Yeah, so with the all access pass, you'll be able to watch the presentations forever, as long as they're, up. Which, unless somebody takes their presentation down, they'll always be available. Unlike some things I've watched where they only give you like a 6-month package to watch your videos or whatever, ours are lifetime. There'll be a ton of digital coupons and goodies in this digital swag bag. The all access pass gets you access to our nightly sit and sews. We have Amber from the Cheeky Quilters hosting one with me, and we have, I'll get her name right, it's Melissa, I believe. I think it's Melissa, maybe Melinda. Sorry, my brain's not working. But she's from the Vintage Calico, and she's going to, her presentation is on thrifting vintage fabrics and how to find them and use them. And so she's going to co-host with me on the second night. We also have prizes. We have Yazzie bags coming back. They gave us prizes last time. I believe we have 8 bags that we're going to be giving away from Yazzie. We have Kimberbell is giving us prizes. Oliso Irons is giving us prizes for that. Yeah, so we gave away 2 irons last time. I believe we're giving away 2. Caterpillar has come along, and they have put a coupon in our digital swag bag. So yeah, we have lots of great coupons, free patterns, all kinds of cool swag. And like I said, you can watch it whenever you want, so that if you don't have time to watch something because you're working or you're sick or whatever.
Yeah, that's
and I believe we have multiple tiers, so you can get the full all access pass, or you can get the mini pass.
Okay. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I'm sure you've got options for everybody, so that will be really fun. And those nightly sit-in sews will be a fun way to interact with people. So yeah,
well, I'm really excited to hang out with Amber. She's so funny, and her, I love her accent. She's just so personable. She's just such a great lady.
Yeah, she's doing some fun stuff. I think she actually has a weekly live on Wednesday nights, so everybody tends to hop from mine over to hers.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say hi to the folks that are popping up in chat. So Sherry's here. Hi, Sylvia. Annette is joining us. Good to see you. And Donna is here as well. I was just on Donna's channel earlier this week. So thanks for being here. And yeah, so we've got a lot coming up. And the way you were telling me before, you won't quite be out of your wheelchair by then. Everybody, send all your healing prayers to Tabatha. She broke her leg a few weeks ago, but she avoided surgeries. So we're thankful for that. Yes, but we want you to rest up. And
my advice is, don't turn yourself into a human pretzel tripping over your mop on a staircase.
Oh yeah.
Use a little more
wisdom. Sewing room. Avoid those cleaning injuries.
Stop cleaning. That's just all there is to it. Don't clean them. Don't take the mop upstairs. Or downstairs, whatever the case may be. It's going to be really great. Also, for any of your listeners that are speakers, we will be opening our speaker applications up immediately after this summit finishes to do it again in February. So if you're interested, definitely watch for that email, because we'll put out a call for speakers again, because we'd love to have everybody, that wants to apply. We're willing, we can't take everybody, obviously. I think I had like 40 plus speaker applications this time, and I can only do so much in 2 days. But we're definitely willing to, we vet them. We look through your social media. We check out your topic to make sure, because we don't want to double up on topics if we can avoid it. So yeah, but if you have speakers that are interested that watch your show, definitely apply. We're more than happy to consider them.
I'll put that out to my podcast community as well, since that's a little more business focused and they may have some. But yeah, for everybody out there in the comments, if you have a favorite quilting instructor that you would like to hear from, send them an email and direct them over to Tabatha.
Exactly, because we would love to consider them.
Yeah. So I'm glad to hear that you have plans to continue. and I guess you won't know until the September event is over. I'm wondering what if there's going to be much fluctuation in the audience, because it feels like, especially this summer and fall, there have been just all of a sudden an explosion of summits and various
There
things. I know
has.
there's a free motion one going on. We
It
just
just finished,
the
yeah.
fabric in July. So yeah, are you concerned at all about the level of competition, or is
I
it
am
just
not.
more for
A
everybody?
rising tide lifts all boats. There is plenty to go around for everybody. And we're here. We're not here to compete. We're here for collaboration, for community, to share our love of this art, right? Because it's amazing. And there's so many facets of the art. Like, you are my hero because you have conquered the half square rectangle. I have made one time and swore I might never touch that again. I have not gotten brave enough to do it a second time. But
Yep.
there's enough for everybody. That's just like saying, "Oh, should I start a quilting podcast?" No, because there's 16 of them out there, right? Don't worry, I'm not gonna, because that's not my jam. But I don't want a podcast on a regular basis. But no, I'm not. I'm not worried. Everybody's got their own unique take on things. So you're uniquely you, and so you do your podcast in your a way that nobody else could do the exact same podcast, because you're uniquely you. And we feel like we are uniquely us, and our speakers are unique, and we have our little community, and I'm not worried about it. I think it's
Yeah.
great. The more the merrier. The more that we can spread our love for this art,
Mhm.
the more we can support our local quilt shops and keep them in business. The more we can support our shows and our guilds and our pattern designers. Because honestly, I'm not a pattern designer, and I have no desire to ever write a pattern. So I need the pattern designers to be out there writing patterns for me to make, because I'm not gonna I'm not gonna do it myself. So I think the more that we can spread the love, the better.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great attitude. And I've um, tried to ground myself in that, as, as a speaker and a teacher. It's one of those things that I've written a lot of half rectangle, triangle patterns, and I still get that little, oh, they're doing it too, when I see someone else. But you're right. I need to get over my own
Because
little,
you have your unique spin, right? You have
yeah,
your unique
yeah,
way of doing it, and your personality will appeal to some quilter that somebody else's personality who does the same thing won't appeal to them, because we're all different.
right. And it does give you a little bit different perspective when you're on the business side, on the speaker circuit, I guess. Um, is a comparison, and because the other speakers, but everybody's bringing their own audience, and
Right.
so more summits means we get to know more people, and there's
Exactly.
no way we could meet all 6 million quilters in the world. So
No, I
yeah,
mean, like,
it's
you and I
just
would not have met if it weren't for Elizabeth's retreat summit thing,
right.
her in-person one. And I
Hmm.
get everybody could be in person for not everybody's got the luxury of just jumping up and driving from Florida to Utah, or from Arizona to Utah,
Yeah.
right? So having these online summits is wonderful for the quilting community.
Yeah, it really does bring everybody together. It just is another way to hang out and get to know each other, because everybody's getting excited for QuiltCon in
I got my
um,
ticket.
is it Raleigh this
Raleigh.
year? Yeah, yeah. And I'm not going to fly across the country, just like you didn't fly across the country to Phoenix when it was in my backyard. So
I didn't, but Raleigh's fairly close to me, and so Taylor and I will be going to the one in Raleigh.
fun, fun, fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already planning the big circle in the RV around the US when I retire. I'm going to drag my husband along and say, you have to meet all my quilting friends that I haven't been able to hug in person.
I would like to. I had thought about going to Quilt Fest in Houston this year, but I'm kind of glad I didn't, because obviously the broken leg would have slowed me down.
Mhm.
So maybe next year I can manage it. The funny
Yeah.
thing is I lived in Texas for most of my adult life till about 2015, and I never went. And I even lived in Dallas Fort Worth in Southeast Texas, and I never went.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
So now that I don't live there, I need to pick
right. You're
plan.
big into it. Would love to be there. Yeah. I went to Houston. I went to the market side of it one year when my mom still had her fabric store opened. And I was a pretty new quilter. And yeah, it was just crazy.
Oh, I bet overwhelming.
Yeah, being there, but fun. They have for shop owners, they have the schoolhouse event, which is just like the mini series of this is my trunk show in 10 minutes kind of
Mhm.
event. And yeah, so that was a fun day. And then trying to walk that whole floor of vendors was crazy.
Yeah, that'll
So
have to wait till I can actually walk, because it's the first week of October this year because they changed the date.
yeah, they
And so, yeah, I will just barely be weight bearing at that point.
yeah, that's definitely something you need to plan for a year that you're in full health. So
Yeah. But I'm
good.
looking forward to QuiltCon. I think that's going to be great.
Yeah, that will be fun. Donna in the comments is saying she's going to go, so that'll be
Cool
fun.
beans.
Um,
Funny thing is I never realized how much I leaned toward modern quilting until I started thinking about it, right? Because people would ask me, "Are you a traditional quilter or a modern quilter?" I'm like, I don't know. I like everything. But then when I look at the quilts I make, I'm like, I'm definitely not to the point of improv because that's not really my thing. But I definitely lean towards the more negative space, the bright colors, more so than the traditional like Civil War reproductions and traditional patterns. So I really apparently am more of a modern quilter than I thought I was.
yep. Well, everybody will have to come to my lecture at Tabatha's Quilted Summit because it is about the principles of modern quilting that I incorporate in my sampler designs. So,
Which is
uh,
great because samplers, you don't tend to think of them often as modern quilting because they're such a very traditional thing.
right, right. And that's where what I'm hoping to inspire people, expand their horizons, because like you said, you think of samplers and it's the 3 rows or 4 rows of 3 blocks, one of each, and they're
Or
all the
set on
same
point.
size.
Or they're
Yeah,
just set on point. Either, and I got to where I hated doing block of the months with the samplers because I thought if I have to set one more quilt in this manner, if
right.
I make them, they're not going to get put into a quilt because I couldn't. I just couldn't do the 3x4 grid anymore. So
Yep.
I ended up making one year. I made 24 log cabin blocks to set the 12 sampler blocks in.
Okay.
So I made 36 blocks for 12 total because I couldn't do it. And the one I'm working on now, I just finished with a local quilt shop. And I'm on Pinterest looking for modern ways to set sampler blocks. Anything but the 3x4 grid.
Yep.
Anything.
Yep. Well, I've got some ideas
I'm
for you.
excited. I'm excited
So
about that. I'm so
good,
glad.
good. The other thing that I do to break out of that 3x4 grid is to use different size blocks. And that's probably how that obviously was how I detoured into half rectangle triangles, because I was, stretching and modifying the blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one quilt where I did the same block in like 4 or 5 different sizes, and just kind of made more of a swirly type setting. But yeah, then I've gone to the 6x9, my half rectangle triangle blocks. This was one of them, um, from earlier this year, that I took a classic block, obviously the shoe
Mm-hmm.
fly, and then stretched the
I like it.
components. Um, and I have a Christmas sampler coming out, but the blocks themselves are an odd size. They're 6x9, but I did fall back and I went just a straight grid too. So sometimes, we do fall back on tradition, and that's okay
True.
too.
It's okay. My very,
yeah,
very first quilt I ever made was a block of the month sampler from a local quilt shop, and it is in the 3x5, 3x4 because I didn't know any difference with the sashing and the cornerstones. I just followed whatever they told me to do.
yep, yep. But yeah, those are fun things too. And if the only modern thing you do is throw a little bit of bright fabric in your traditional patterns, then that counts too. We're here for all of it.
So I just got to know, because I don't think I've ever asked you this, but what drew you to half square rectangles? Because I just don't look at that block because I've only had one questionable experience with them. And I look at it, I'm like, oh man, that is just complicated. It's not just as simple as just making the half square triangle.
Yeah, because they don't play nicely. Like
No, you
half
can't just
square
put
triangles
them
just
open. They're not
spin and
mirrored.
rotate and it doesn't. Yeah, yeah, and you have to pay attention when you're cutting for the HRT units. Honestly, everything in quilting, it's my mom's fault because she had the fabric store and I, started helping her. I hadn't really ever touched a sewing machine before that. And now I've got a long arm and 2 full bedrooms of floor to ceiling fabric.
Right.
And um, so she had gone in the mid 2000s, like 2007 or 8, I guess. She had traveled up. I want to say traveled. I'm getting stories confused. Anyway, she met Margaret Miller, who had developed the angle play rulers back in, like I said, early 2000s. And they were a whole set of templates that would do various sizes of the half rectangle triangles. And she was really one of the pioneers of bringing that unit into patchwork. And, she was using these templates to do the various sizes. And she was using like 50 fabrics to make these wonderful scrappy quilts. And my mom and I said, you know what? That's probably a little intimidating for people to have to come up with all these different fabrics and colors. So we took her templates, her angle play templates, and we developed our own patterns because there was maybe a line of 8 patterns that went with the templates. And we were like, that's not enough. People aren't going to keep coming back to these templates. Right. They're not going to invest in a set if they only have a limited number of patterns. So we wrote a book called Angle Play the Easy Way. We simplified the designs to use fewer fabric choices. I mean, you can make them as scrappy as you want, obviously, but we really simplified it from Margaret's original vision. And Margaret has since sold her template company to Julie and Rick at Off the Wall Quilt. Mm-hmm. And so you can still find angle play out there. And yeah, so that was my introduction to half rectangle triangles. And so I helped, design and wrote the patterns for that book. And then I set them aside for a while. And then I came back and was in charge of the Block Lotto, our little swap program lottery game at my guild. Right. And I said, I'm going to make all the blocks this year for the lotto are going to be 6x9. I just put that in as a challenge for myself. And then as I started choosing patterns, I realized that I needed those half rectangle triangles to fit in this new size of block. And that I wanted to see how much I could do with it. So I just.
And did you get a lot of flack from the group for changing that into a 6x9 instead of 12x12?
Not really. There were a few adventurous souls that stuck with me for all 12 months of the exchange, and some aspects, because when I did the guild exchange, not every single block used an HRT. Mm-hmm. Some of them I used just straight piecing, some of them I used curves. We really had fun with a lot of stuff. And you can visit truebluequilts.com and search for Little Bit Different, and you can see all the blocks that I designed for that exchange. Yeah, we had a lot of fun with that
Well, you're
during
definitely
that year.
inspiring me to give the HRT another try.
Yeah,
Because my only experience with it, I was doing a murder mystery quilt by Whip Stitch. And this is like 3 years ago, I think. And one of the blocks had that HRT, and I'd never seen one before. And it was like to make an airplane. I spent 4 hours with a friend who understood how to do it. It still took me 4 hours to make two that were opposite, that were mirrored of each other, to make some stupid little block that had a plane in it, and it was part of the airplane. 4 hours, Andy.
Yeah. But it's one of those things. Once you play with it, once you get the hang of it, it comes a little bit easier. And obviously now I'm 3 years into this design series challenge for myself. And so I can get them done pretty easily. But
I know I'd make one, I'd cut it, and I'm just like, it's still backwards.
Yeah, I put a link in the chat for people that want to see all the blocks.
Perfect.
Yeah. Oh, and I have a first-time visitor here, Pat. Hi, she's over here from Donna's channel. Thank you so much for popping in. Yeah, I don't have any problem chattering away on camera, so.
My daughter says, yeah, y'all, you quilters, your mom, you and your quilter friends will be famous because y'all are definitely more unhinged than we are. It's like, I'm just me. Like, I don't know what to say.
I think that's any, specialty niche group. You find your people and you can just talk for hours. So literally, yeah, and yes. I wanted to say hi to Candace, who's here, and Karen popped in. Yeah, I'm not doing any sewing. I have my friend Tabatha here, and she was telling us about the Quilted Summit that we're going to be part of coming up in September. Well, so
I can just brag a little bit, is we are, by registration membership, the largest from the get-go, from February. We were already bigger than anything else out there. And so Taylor and I were very proud of that and how well the audience of the quilting community has responded to the summit.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing to celebrate, that you were able to get such a good plan in there. And
I will say a lot of credit goes to Taylor.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember, because I met Taylor also. She was at the retreat, and you said she's not necessarily a quilter. She's got the business. At all.
She's the business person in the background, right? She's a social media person. She's the strategist. She's the one answering the customer service emails. Some of the time I answer some of them, but she's the person who does all the strategizing. She's a business coach, and that's what she does. Is she coaches businesses and online digital marketing. So we make a really good pair.
That's great. That's great. And I love to see the mother-daughter teams, because I'm the younger half of a mother-daughter collaboration in the quilt world. As I said, I've written pattern books with my mom. So yeah, it's definitely fun.
My other daughter also helps out behind the scenes with graphics and that kind of thing. And she was also in Utah. She just didn't attend the conference. She stayed at the Airbnb, but they both came with me. And so, yeah, they're both behind the scenes involved.
Yeah, that's really neat. I have always hoped, that my daughter would, being such a social media consumer would help her poor mother out, but that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, we would not be where we are without Taylor's business acumen. Yeah, she's very, very good at it.
Yeah, that's great that everybody's got their role to play, and it comes together to make
it's funny because people ask me, they were like, how do you guys do it work so well? I'm like, we all have our own lanes and we stay in them. We don't step on each other's toes because we all have our zone of genius and we stay in it.
Yeah, Yeah, I was lucky to pair up with Tori for my podcast
Mm-hmm.
because we do kind of dovetail really nicely. I am more of the grand idea person, and she's more the, the step by step, let's get it done and do
Yeah,
it.
Taylor's my
So
step by step, like let's get it done. I'm like, but hey, how about this? And she's like, would you stop going off script, Mom? Just do what I tell you to
yeah,
do. Yeah.
right. Yeah, I know we all need those the drivers of the ship, or the person with the reins to keep the horse pulling the cart. So yeah, I definitely need to find a tailor in my life.
That's what Susan Smith
And
said too. She's like, I need a tailor.
yeah, yeah. So if you could clone her a couple more times, that would be great.
I can hire. She hires out, but a lot of times people are like, "Oh no, we can't afford that."
Can't afford her. Yeah, yeah. You got the best deal
I get the
there.
best
No,
deal.
that's terrific. I'm very happy for you, and hope this the summit experience continues to grow and do well and reach, because we, like I said, I pulled the number 6 million out of the air, but I know it's definitely up there in terms of
Oh
how
yeah,
big the
because I
industry
mean,
is.
we were one of the earlier ones,
Mhm.
starting back at the beginning of the year. I mean, there had been another one or two, but we were still pretty early. And then this year, I have just seen an explosion of summits, from the Free Motion Summit to, gosh, what are some of the others? Quilt and Learn, I think is what they call themselves. I'm not sure, but I've seen it. Of course, Dara's got her summit, and her name just went out. It starts with a C. She was in Utah. She's one of the speakers in Utah. Starts with a C. She's a designer.
Oh, Karina.
Karina, yeah, she's got her thing, and I think it's great because some of the summits focus on pattern designers. That's not what we do, right? Like, we aren't just focused on just pattern, like just a summit for pattern designers or a summit for free motion, right? So we're not quite that niched down. And I wanted to participate in the free motion, but again, standing was at the long run was not going to happen. So I didn't. I just got to watch some of the videos. I didn't actually get to participate.
Right.
But I think it's great. I think there's a place for all these different summits, right? Honestly, if you have a 2 or 3 day summit, you are limited in how many presenters you can actually have, right? Like, there's a limit. And so I can only have 25 to 30 presenters. So if somebody else wants to present and they weren't available when I was doing mine, but maybe they're available the next month or the next month. And so now they can present at that summit, right? Like, who am I to say they shouldn't do it? I think it's more, like I said, the more, the better, because then it all comes around in a big circle. We're supporting everybody.
Yep. Yep. And it's one of those things, and folks in the chat can let me know if, as the fall goes on, because I am in multiple events. Like I said, I was part of Tour de Fabric. We're doing this one. And I've got another one coming up later in the fall. So people have to tell me, that's kind of my worry from the presenter side, that I'm going to wear out my audience by talking about this one and then talking about this one next. But people have free will. They can choose to join in or not. So.
And schedules, like maybe like the free motion one, I couldn't actually participate because I couldn't stand at my long arm. But so if you were presenting at that one, I really wouldn't have been able to do any of the stuff you were presenting, right? Because I was broken. But now you'll be at this one. Or maybe you're on vacation or working during one summit and not during the other, right? Like, so I don't think you can have, anytime anybody starts talking about market saturation, I just remind them that everybody still buys Monopoly.
Right.
Monopoly has been around for how long? How many Monopoly games do people have in their houses? It's usually more than one. And they're still selling Monopoly games. So I think market saturation is, a misnomer.
Right. Yeah. Because there are quilt shows almost every weekend, and people will go from one to the other. So
yeah, where I live, quilt show season is pretty much January through May, when the snowbirds are here. And so yeah, there'll be quilt shows multiple weekends in a row, and sometimes you're going to see the same quilts by the same people because their quilt just that makes the circuit. But does that you see the same vendors at every show because they're local? Does that stop any of us from going? No, because we enjoy the experience, whether we have seen those quilts or not. It's just the whole experience of being in the environment where there is the quilts. You never know if you might find a fabric that the vendor didn't have last week when you saw them at the other show, but they got with them this week, right? So it's the whole experience, and I don't think there's too much. I don't think you can have too much of it.
That's for
But
sure.
that's just me. I don't get tired of it.
Right? I know.
How many seasons has Dancing with the Stars had? I mean, come on. I don't watch it,
right?
but I just want to how many seasons, and they just keep coming back and coming back. And I don't think the script varies much, but I could be wrong because I haven't watched it.
Right? Yeah, I haven't. I'm not into
I don't actually watch
Dancing with the
TV.
Stars, but yeah, for sure. Oh, too funny, too funny. Well, yeah, that's a great perspective. So, wonderful. Well, I hate to cut this short, but I've got some family stuff going on in the background that I'm going to have to go to attend to. But Tabatha, tell people where they can find you.
You can find us at quiltedsummit.com. You can find us at Camellia Palms Retreat Center.com. You can find me on School, SKOOL, and then search Quilt Queens. That's our online community. And if you really just want a quilting t-shirt or quilting sticker, you can find me at Tabatha Smith Quilting on Etsy, and it's all A's, TABATHA.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, and I see all of the fun posts that you're doing on Instagram. Is that under Quilted Summit?
It's all three. Camellia Palms Retreat Center has an Instagram. Tabatha Smith Quilting has an Instagram, and Quilted Summit has an Instagram. And in case you're wondering, yes, we have a virtual assistant. No one person could keep up with all of it on their own. So it's me and Taylor and Katie and Micah, our virtual assistant. And yeah, there's a lot of plates spinning all the time.
Oh, that's wonderful. But it's one big happy family for sure. So I'm certainly glad to count you among my quilting friends. So thank you so much for being here. And thanks everybody in the chat for hanging out with us for a while. We will, sometimes we chat, sometimes we sew, and it's all good. So wish you the best, and we'll see you soon, Tabatha. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, Andy. Bye-bye.